and they won't charge you for my services. Yeah, this can be a dowry that someone works for the woman.
Can you teach you?
Of course, you have to state something, not like I will work for you or teach you Quran. What are you going to teach her? I mean, for how long? And it takes time. It's not known. You have to give something known when you do the sadaq. You have to, wherever you do the transaction, you give something or you buy something, or you have to mention something that is known. Because teach you Quran, how many surah?
Specific, yes.
Yeah. Yes, unless the woman doesn't ask for something. You see, the marriage can be done without sadaq. Without dowry. If the marriage is done without, if the woman doesn't want anything, and you give her something just like this, and she doesn't agree or disagree, it's still fine. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ وَلَمْ تَفْرِضُوا لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً. If you divorce them before you touch them, and you have not given them anything. You understand? So he is saying that if you divorce them after you married them, and you have not given them any sadaq, you can't divorce a woman except you are married to her. That means the marriage was valid without sadaq. So, yeah.
It's very much like a sales contract. It's like buying and selling.
No, it's not like buying and selling. You don't buy the woman. If you buy the woman, then you can sell her later. She will become your property. But it's not really. But there is a sadaq. It is a contract in a way, like buying and selling, but it's not like you bought the woman. It is a contract, like buying and selling and renting and any contract. Yeah, it's a deal, like it's a condition. You do this, you do this, but it's not like that you bought the woman and she became your property. All the scholars agree that the entire sadaq is due when you consummate the marriage or death. Is that true? The sadaq is due if a man gives sadaq to a woman, then it is due straight away after if a man mentions a sadaq for a woman. He make a marriage contract and says, I will give you a country, the whole of Asia as your property, provided it doesn't belong to someone else. Then it is due straight away if it is in possession, if it is in his possession, because he is married to her now. Whether he consummates the marriage, whether she can't stop him from doing anything, and he can't stop her from her property, which is due at the time of marriage. Now she is his wife. You understand? If he can't give her the sadaq, which he mentioned, she is still his wife. If, let's say, he promised to give something and he doesn't have it, she is his wife, and this is a loan. So he will have to
try his best to.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن كَانَ ذُو عُسْرَةٍ فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. If he is someone who has usra, means he is in difficulty, he can't pay, then you have, if someone has a loan and this is due, and then you can't take it from him, like if you don't give me the money, put you in prison. Or if he has the money, you take it. If he doesn't, then you have to wait, you have no other option. But yeah, it is matlul ghani dhulm. The Prophet said matlul ghani dhulm. Someone who doesn't give what is due, then it is unjust. So he must give the dowry. The dowry, you can't say it is when you consummate the marriage, because you have no proof for that. This woman became his wife at the time when the aqd is finished, and she can't stop herself from him anyway, whether there is wedding, whether all this customs. I mean, if a man after the aqd is finished has done anything with the woman, are we going to say that he committed adultery? We don't. So that is, she is his wife now. So the marriage, the dowry is due then. And if she doesn't ask for her dowry, like it is with the man, still has to give it when when it is due. He must give the dowry when it is available to him. You don't have to wait for the person who has the right to ask you for it. This money doesn't belong to you. It belongs to someone. It is due. You have to give it. I mean, you don't have to like, let's say he said, I will give you this animals in this area. Now he gave her these animals there, and they are available. He didn't say that I will transport them for you. So transport is something extra. He doesn't have to pay for it. As long as he doesn't stop her from going and collecting them, it is her business to go and collect them. But when they say the marriage is, the sadaq is due when you consummate the marriage or death. Now there is some people, they do in the marriage some kind of muqaddam and mu'akhar, something at the beginning, something at the end. The mu'akhar, they are not going to ask about it except when the man is trying to divorce or is dead. Then they take it from the tarika, from the to ask for a big mahr. There is no problem, and the woman can ask a man, for example, something which is, if she is afraid that he might, like, there are some men who play around. It is not haram. They marry and they divorce. They marry and they divorce. So if a woman want to protect herself, she can ask for a higher dowry that he can't afford. There is nothing wrong with that. And then if he divorces her, then he will be almost impossible for him to marry another woman, because before he can go and marry another woman and pay for her dowry, he must pay the money that is due first. So this is fine. As this muqaddam and mu'akhar, if they mention that in a dowry, if they say, okay, you give me 10,000 now, and 10,000 when mu'akhar, just like this, the way, like, for example, some places do it, mu'akhar, don't mention the time, then that is wrong. You can mention a date, 10 years, 5 years, then it's like, okay, you give me 20,000, 10,000 I am going to take them now, and 10,000 it's a loan. I'm going to give them to you as a loan. No, the woman will give them to the man as a loan for 10 years. After 10 years, you have to pay them back. So, for example, now she can hold him in 10 years. After 10 years, for example, if something happens within 10 years, then he will have to pay this money after 10 years. You understand? So this is that the dowry is either to be given when you consummate the marriage or death. That is, there is no proof for that. Can you explain the verse? If you divorce them before you have touched them, and you have appointed into them a portion, then pay the half of that which you appointed. Yeah, this is an ayah which is clear. If a man divorces a woman, and before he touch her, then he must give her half of the...
Where's touch?
Here touch people differ in understanding touching here. Everybody has contradicted himself here, including Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm say if you touch woman in the wudu, in the ayah that says wudu, then that, and Shafi'i say touching here is touching with the hand, just like if you touch her with your hand, or like Ibn Hazm say touch her with any part of your body, touch her on her hands, that is touching. He came here and said touching here is not. Touching here means having intercourse. The majority say no, say touching here, if he goes with her to a house and the door is closed, then that is considered to be touching. As long as they are closed, the door is closed behind them. You understand?
Yeah.
They consummated the marriage. Doesn't matter he has touched her or not. That is what, and some of them say if he goes behind the door and he stayed with her like enough time, not like he went in and came out. You understand? Well, here touching can be mean touching
both.
No, of course it can be both. Of course the strongest understanding here will be touching, meaning having full relationship with her. He can touch her at the act straight away after the act has been done. The act has been done. At that time, he could have touch her like this in front of her family, or you understand. Touching, however, in Surah Maryam, for a woman, وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. And to argue for Shafi'i and Ibn Hazm, for example, you can say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he says أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ in Surah Al-Ma'idah, he said لَامَسْتُم. But in Surah, when he speaks about marriage, he say تَمَسُّمْ تَمَسُّوهُنَّ, like لَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي. Lamasa and massa is same meaning. But it might be that some people say, okay, this is the same word here used, there it's a different word used. And the Arabs, wherever there is words that are similar, it's not generally there is small difference between one word and another. And when he speaks about Maryam, it is like Massa, say لم يمسسني بشر. Well, the strongest opinion is that here it will be that he mess with not with the hand. However, the other thing about if you touch about the Mahr, they have different opinions about, like Ibn Hazm say, the Mahr must be, when you give the Mahr at the beginning, it has to have half. It can be divided. It must be divided. It can be divided.
What? So I'll give you first part, second part?
No. He say you have to give something, but can be divided into two.
Give example.
There are things that you can't divide into two, like the atom.
Yeah.
The atom.
Impossible then.
It's the smallest. It is now. At my time when I was studying physics, they didn't know how. They wouldn't divide it. But now you can divide it. There is the molecule and there is the. So, if it is something that can't be divided into two, then you can't give it as Mahr. Can you think of anything that can't be divided into two?
There can't be
A human being, for example, a slave. No, it can be, because you can have joint property. It's like yours and mine. It's fine to have two person like owning one slave, and he will be with you for one day, with me another day. You work for it. So that condition, I think it's useless, because everything can be joint. It can be joint ownership. The other thing is, if the woman, they say, if the woman have taken the mahr and she has used it, what she must do? Yeah, she this will go also to the. She have taken the mahr. She have used it. She has used her right. When she used it, she had she was not doing anything wrong. Now, what you have given her is finished, is gone. Then you can't take it back. If it's the same thing, if a man gives a woman something, he mentioned to her something, I am going to give you this particular thing, this slave. And he didn't stop her from taking it. Like, I am going to give you this slave. And he mentions the time. He didn't stop her from taking the slave. So the slave died. He doesn't have to give her anything, because he said this slave. He didn't say like a slave.
Okay.
You understand? If he say the slave, then he must give her slave. You understand? It's not the slave that have, if he had even if he had in mind one slave in his mind and died, he didn't give her that slave. So it was always his property. So his property now is lost. But if he tell her this slave is yours and she doesn't take it, and the slave dies, then it's her property that's gone. It's not, you can't take him, hold him responsible. If a marriage is cancelled not for a divorce, does this verse Baqarah apply? The verse of in talaqtumuhunna. No. If the marriage is unverified, then she has to take all the mahr. The mahr is due. It is right. It is her right. It is due. And the marriage is cancelled.
Divorce?
No, marriage sometimes is cancelled.
Well, he disagrees.
No, let's say he committed adultery, or she committed adultery.
During the time of the...
Yeah, after they married, one of them committed adultery.
And
then the marriage is nullified.
Okay.
He doesn't have to divorce her.
He takes her back.
No?
Marriage again.
No, he can't take her back here until one of them make tawbah, of course. If he accuses her, he accuses her of adultery, if they finish it like themselves, they know that one of them has committed adultery, and everyone goes his way, then he can take her back later. If the person who has done the adultery make tawbah. But if he accuses her, the marriage is nullified after what we call li'an. I mean, he will stand up and swear 4 times that she has committed adultery. 5 times, 4 and 5, and then she does the same thing 4 times, and the 5th time she say that he is a liar. If she swears the same thing, then in this case he can never marry her again, because there is hadith where the Prophet say, "La sabila laka alayha." There is no, you can't like. La sabila lak. There is, you don't have a way over her. You can't have her. Some people might say here, as long as there is no tawbah, or the hadith is general. La sabila laka alayha. You have no way to her. Again, in this case, the marriage, the dowry, stays with her. There is hadith clear about this in Bukhari as well, where the man who accused his wife of adultery, he swore 5 times, and then she swore 5 times that he is a liar. At the end, the man said, my property, like my property, he must have given her something of value about Mahr, so he wants back his Mahr. The Prophet say, that is far away from you. If you are saying the truth, so it is because of what بما استحللت من فرجها, is like because of you made her, that property is because you made her halal to you, so it's gone. And if you are lying, then it's even far off from you, like to take this property. It is, you have no way to take it. If you are lying, then it's even more difficult for you to get it back. This hadith here is, it shows that when the marriage is annullified, because that marriage was annullified, even though in some verses they say the Prophet, the man divorced her even before the Prophet ordered him to divorce her. But that is, if he divorced her before the Prophet told him to divorce or whatever, it is still, it is something that he said extra. It has no meaning. The marriage is annullified by one of them proven to be an adulterer. That hadith where the Prophet said, if you take take the money, if you have the money, you can't take her. If you are saying the truth, then ذلك بما استحللت من فرجها, that's because of you made her private part halal for you. That is hadith is that some people use actually to say that the dowry is only due after consummating the marriage, and that is not true, because the woman becomes halal for the man as soon as the aqd is done. So that is, she is halal, whether he is using his rights or not. It's halal for him. It's finished. That's what the hadith says. بما استحللت من فرجها. What does the verse mean unless they agree to forego يعفو it, or they agree to forego it in whose hand is the marriage tie? The ayah means إلا أن يعفو الذي إلا أن يعفون أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة النكاح, except if they forgo, like they say, okay, I don't want the mahr.
The woman,
أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة النكاح, or forgo the one who has the marriage tie not in his hand. Now they don't know what does it mean. If you either you forgo or forgo the one who has the tie of the knot of the marriage in his hand. Now who has the knot of the marriage in his hand? Some say it's the wali, it's the father of the woman, or her wali, guardian, and some say it's the husband. Now they say because the marriage, people say, okay, the marriage can't be done without the husband agreement, but the others say the marriage can't be done without the woman agreement or the wali agreement. You understand? But okay, the husband, the wali, can't forgive in the dowry because it's not his property, it's his daughter's property. Oh, you understand? How can he say, okay, I don't want the mahr when the property is not his?
No point to say.
Yes, once the marriage, the dowry has been mentioned, well, it is not. There is nothing to show that the woman has to agree about the dowry. I mean, the guardian on her behalf can agree about the dowry, but then it won't be his property. It will be the property of the girl, and you can't forgive about something until it has been mentioned. Or this ayah can be actually say that the marriage can be done without a mahr at all. Like they can say at the beginning, there is no mahr, we don't want mahr. But when the dowry has been mentioned, then it's the husband who has the tie. What is called is the tie, yeah? Knot of the. It is in his hand, because okay, the marriage can't be done except with the agreement of the three people: husband, wali, and the woman. But who has the knot in his hand? The one who can start the marriage and the one who can finish it. Nobody can finish the marriage except the husband. Not under no like in all circumstances, except when the marriage is finished by death, cancelled by death, or cancelled by
Separation.
Cancelled by any way of cancellation. Then it is only the husband. Even if the woman wants divorce, where she wants to what we call khul', it's still the husband. The Prophet told the man, when the woman asked for khul', he told him to take his property and divorce her. So it is a divorce. Khul' is just a divorce where the husband is either he is paid back his property, he is doing the divorce with rather than him wanting to divorce, it's the woman wanting to divorce, and she will have to come with some acceptable excuses to ask for that, but it's still the man who has to divorce, not the judge, not anybody. The judge can never divorce anybody.
Does that mean he can forgo the mahr?
Yeah, Allah said illa an ya'fun, except if they forgo. That means he is referring to the woman with her wali or وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة فنصف ما فرضتم. If you divorce them before you touch them, but you have given them something, you have given them a dowry, then it is half of what you have mentioned. It is half of it, except if they forgo. Except if the woman say, I don't want. إلا أن يعفون أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة النكاح. Except if the woman say, I don't want this half of this property. She says she doesn't want it, then it's fine. أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة النكاح. Or the man who has the knot in his hand will say, no, I give everything. You understand? I will give her the full mahr. Sometime, as you know, sometime is probably the husband has already given the property, so he will need to take half. So he might say, I just forgot, I don't need back. Or sometime they will mention something that is very difficult to divide.
Yeah.
So he can forgo as well.
Should we start here?
Yeah. So yeah.